This conference will now be recorded.
All right, great. So this is the week 2 critique for color theory, looking at logo icons. And first up, we're going to look at Drake's because he's present here today. Drake, you chose dark wave soap, which is a good, challenging one to do. And I see from your icons that you get it, you understood and read the creative brief. Uh, these are very good sketches. They're clear, easy to understand and see. They're not presently in the template, but I'm sure you'll put them in there in the InDesign template. Uh, I personally, I like number 2, number 8, and number 11. I think all of these are potentially good icons. Those were the ones that I thought were the most kind of on brand. And visually, number 11 just sort of stood out. What do you think, Drake? Do you agree with my choices? 2, 8, and 11. Yeah, those were the ones I thought were the best out of this group. Uh, number 1 has potential, number 3 as well. I like the face because it's sort of a beauty product, so I think that helps. Maleficent type of face, which is good. The moon is kind of cool with the wave. This could maybe be a little simpler, like simplified. And then this one, the sort of wave and water symbol. Yeah, no, I think number 2, it might be a little more conventional in some ways, but I definitely think it fits with a beauty product and it's distinctive. So sorry about that. So 4, 6, and 12. Okay, so 4 doesn't have as much sort of visual impact as some of the others. 6, same thing. It feels like sort of pieces a little scattered. It's not as kind of iconic. 12 is good, but to be honest, I kind of looked at it and I thought, is this a question mark? Whereas I think number 11 sort of is more cohesive icon. But I would say among these, if you feel strongly about any of them, you should do those as your next step. You really need 3, but I would very, very much like you to include number 2 if anything. So you feel clear about what you need to do? So not sketches at this point. You're going to bring them into Illustrator. You're going to add logo type. You're going to render your, sort of create vector art out of your sketch, and you can make variations on that as well as you do that. Just for everybody's benefit, I'll bring up an example of what I'm talking about. So the Zinnia T that I showed in the live session, let's see, there it is. So at this point, let's see, we'll get to the place where we are. So she did 2 rounds of sketches, so 12, and then there's another 12. So, but you really only need 3 good ideas. So here's how she did it. So one was sort of a teacup, but she experimented a little more with this, with the face and everything. The second one was the zinnia flower. So a few variations. This is kind of a wide range of variations. I would say maybe not as much variation as this is necessary, but adding logo type and sort of creating your lockup. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. Here we go. All right. So where were we? All right. So for their sketches, from the sketches, she brought them into Illustrator, added type. She did some variations, and like I said, there's maybe too much variation here. You don't have to be this wide ranging, but it's good exploration of there's a zinnia and there's the hand. So different options in terms of shapes, containing shapes, different options for fonts. And out of these, there's like 10 of each. You're going to pick the best one for the best one of each and put it into this template. 1, 2, 3. And that's what you're doing for Sunday. Is it clear now? I'm going to jump back over to the discussion. Yes, I think so, yeah. First 15 pages of the template. So you get through all the way to the point of final logo. Final logo is kind of like your decision you're going to make on Sunday, and pull that out because you're going to use that in the next week's assignment. Logo 9 of yours. It's good. I feel like there's some complexity here that's unnecessary. The waves are good, and the containing shape is kind of interesting. It feels kind of cultish or something, which is cool. But again, to me, it didn't have as much sort of visual impact as some of the others, but still good. You know what I'm saying about visual impact? It's like you look at it and you see something, you know, with number 8 and number 11, and this one, like I see something I could identify right away. All right, great. All right, I'm going to move on to other students. All right, Amber, blood orange chocolate. So first of all, don't work in color. That was one of my explicit instructions. This is a chocolate with spices that are sort of Spanish. I don't see anything Spanish here. Using a chocolate bar seems kind of low end. This would be like a high end kind of chocolate, like a Godiva or something. All your concepts have oranges. I would like to see some that did not. You don't have to put the little ingredients in the logo, and try not to do that. Think about your keywords, and maybe there's a persona, a character that you could come up with, or other sort of symbolic, identifiers. And again, you're not working in color yet. So take another look at the assignment and see some of the ideas. Look at the video of the live session, and hopefully that'll give you some ideas. Kalaya, I think I'm saying your name right. All right. So you did Sol Beso, which is similar to the first one. Again, no color yet, just work in black and white. These sketches, they're not in the template. They're pretty kind of messy and stuff. I would like to see clear sort of one-off images. This first one, the wedge at the bottom with the kiss. Yeah, that might be okay, number 1, but number 2 is sort of very similar, another wedge of orange. Number 3, oranges and blossoms. That's very kind of literal and just straightforward. I mean, these are like visual exploration ideas, so not really a concept yet. Number 4, a vintage sun. So that is somewhat interesting, but maybe not distinctive. It would be kind of in the execution a bit, how you did that. 5, yeah, Sol Beso. I'm not really seeing that. The heart, okay, the heart is okay. That might be an idea. 7, the heart's in the orange. I like that a little bit. 9 is really just sort of orange with sun rays. This is a very good idea, number 9. So pursue that. See what you can do with that. You've only got 10 out of the 12 required. Make sure you put them in your InDesign template. and no color, and maybe resketch them a little cleaner if you can. But I'm excited about number 9. I think that's one idea. Number 7, and possibly number 1. I think those might be your 3 best. All right, Jennifer, you are doing atomic cookies. So the atom, so these are sort of the electrons swirling around something, and you're missing the actual atom. uh, Cookie ring around resembling outer space. Yeah, that's okay. That's more in your brand. The mushroom cloud is a bit ominous and scary and doesn't really, make me think about cookies very much. For the alien, cookie alien. So this is a face, but it's made of cookie. Might be okay. Uh, Number 5 is a chili pepper. So that's just a chili pepper. What are you going to do to make it unique in your own icon? Same thing with the cactus. Number retro sign with the alien face. Possibly that could be. Uh, Number, let's see, so that's 9. You need to put these in the template. It's a lot better if you do that. 6, 7, 8, atom at the center. So that's the same as number 1. This one is good. Number 8, spaceship abducting a chili pepper and a cookie. I think that has potential. And then chili pepper jelly. That's not, yeah, I don't think that makes a good icon. 11, retro diamond. I like number 8, 4, and number 2. Number 7 has some potential, so you could look at that. Make sure you put these in the template, the InDesign template, where they're numbered and stuff. Nasir, all right, these sketches are kind of all over the place. Again, if you use the template, it's a lot better. So this is Osiris Coffee, the obelisk. It's kind of hard to see if these jump out. Maybe 15. Yeah, the presentation of these is kind of difficult. So let's see. 19, 17, and 11 are the ones you like the most. All right, so let's see. 19. This is okay. So aside from the words, okay, if you had the staff of Ra or whatever, it's a little complex. 1917, 17 could work. The cup of coffee is kind of funny in this context, so maybe that works okay. Number 11, the obelisk. Yeah, that's the least sort of distinctive. I do think that number 17 could work. 19 is kind of depending on the execution. Yeah, maybe go for those 3. I think those 3 would be the ones you take into Illustrator for the next step. All right, Veronica, Kuko's chips. So these are pretty good sketches. As far as concepts, they're very literal. So there's a lot of pictures of plantains. If you think of your keywords and try to come up with things that represent that and are kind of iconic, figure out what would symbolize this. So for instance, who's Kuko? What does Kuko look like? If you're going on vacation, I wouldn't put a bag of chips as your logo because you're going to put it on a package. These are all very literal and very redundant. So come up with some really different ideas. Try not to use plantains and see what you can come up with. If you think about the vacation aspect of this, Maybe personify the plantain. The plantain's on vacation. What does that look like? But these are all just like sort of very literal displays of the product in interesting ways. Your sketch ability is very good. So, but think more conceptually on that. Next up, Dominic, Thor's coffee. All right, so the Thor head kind of jumps out as one. The cup to the gods, maybe, but I would change the perspective on this, maybe looking down on him or something. And then the T, this sort of jumped out. I'm not really a fan of initials, but maybe that works with the lightning bolt. So like 9, 6, and 4. All right, Francisco, Layla's Fair Trade Coffee. All right, so this is a North African Arabic kind of coffee. The stuff you have is somewhat literal. You've got a lot of coffee beans and coffee cups. I would think more about maybe a character. This North African style is great, but this is sort of a cheap little coffee cup. You want to be a little more elegant and refined than that. Think of a character, like I said. Look into North African imagery a little more. Maybe you find other sort of symbols that would represent this. Because right now these are pretty literal. Cups of coffee. Here, remember, these two are almost the same idea. This one and the bottom one are kind of the same idea. So get beyond coffee cups and coffee beans. All right, back over here to Madeline. All right, Green Mountain Maple Candy, which is very New England. You've got some maple leaves, which tend to make me think of Canada. I like this maple and mint combined. That helps. Don't use a word mark. Don't use words. You're just doing an icon to start. The literal mountains, okay, but let's see. What are you doing in number 4? Number 4. Yeah, a mountain made of maple leaves. That's conceptual. That you're working on that. Skip the words. Just do that. Number 9. That kind of works. Is there something, you got a couple of word marks, you want to not do just a word mark, read the assignment again. Maybe there's more of a scene you could do beyond the mountains. Picture of piece of wrapped candy is not very distinctive. So take a look at some other ideas. I want you to get out of just word marks. And see if you come up with more New England type things. Maybe there's a New England character, harvesting maple syrup and things like that. Very quaint scenes, things like that. So see what you can come up with. All right, Chris, you are doing shaman tea. Again, in the template, these should be presented in the template with the numbers in InDesign. All right, number 1, the shaman mask with the T. Yeah, that could work maybe. Dreamcatcher. Let's see, cattle. It's number 2. Brand. That seems sort of less Native American and more invading white Europeans. A mask with horns. So some of these symbols, like number 1 and number 5, could have potential. It kind of depends on how you execute them. This one, this number 10, is sort of the cup. It looks like that. It looks. I thought this was like a cup of the tea, but made into a mask. Maybe that works. I wouldn't get too cartoony. You want to be, follow your brand words. So number 1, number 5, and maybe number 11. I kind of like that if it was like a tea steam coming off the top. All right, Drake, we did yours. And Brad, Granny's Secret. So this is sort of the bootlegger's candy. Grandma is secret. There's an interesting character there. Number 7 jumps out. This is kind of interesting. This is complex, too complex. Yeah, number 7's good. Trying to see what's going on number 10. Granny with the fudge under a magnifying glass. I'm not sure that reads. I think you're trying to go for a secret, and I don't think that works as well. The bottle, number 8. Okay, so if you set this up a little more in a combined shape, so it's like iconic, that might work. Number 7 for sure, maybe number 5. This one is sort of like a generic secret message. It doesn't really tell you much else. So, but think, okay, so you got this one sweet little granny character here. Think more like bootlegger, and what would that look like? All right, Deborah, Black Sea chocolate, the Ukrainian chocolate. You did some good research. You found the anchor and some of these other imagery that goes around it. So I would say right off what jumps out at me as visually arresting. Number 5 for sure. I do like number 4 and number 11. All of these have potential, so I think that's good. Now, you did put them in the template, right? The contrast is very low. You could fix that. Don't have a gray background in the InDesign picture boxes. And instead of giving a screenshot of this one page, you can export a JPEG, so it's not a screenshot, better quality. Just that's a note for everybody. All right, Brian. So you are doing Big Red's Texas chili, the kind of cowboy chili. So number 9 is interesting. That's sort of like how it would be imagined being used. So I like that. Can of chili, that's not what this product's about. The state of Texas wearing a cowboy hat, maybe. Number 11 is bull's head with jalapeno horns. Yeah, go for that. That might work. Number 9, and 9, 10, and 11, maybe. Some of these are generic, sort of. This one, the fire, I mean, if you could romance this a bit, maybe it would work. When I would execute this, I would look at different sort of ways of perspective on this, how close you are, how much detail you show, all that kind of thing is what you want to experiment with. This is a little too kid-like, friendly, fun. It's a funny image, but I don't think it works for this product. It's not on brand. All right, that's what we got for today. I'll be on tomorrow at noon to take another look. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see your work later.